That's right, everybody. Today we're checking out another Commonwealth weaponry release that is going to bring back a New Vegas weapon to Fallout 4. Right now, people are calling this the New Vegas kick, but by all means, we're not intending to bring back a bunch of stuff for New Vegas. It just so happens that all of the projects as of late happen to be New Vegas weapons. Some of them being real guns, like the 870, which could be a callback to the hunting shotgun. Other things being more fictional, like the RCW. And today's video, the Varmint rifle. The Varmint rifle is a classic bolt action from Fallout New Vegas, which sort of has a mythical design. I don't think there's any real-life rifle that quite mirrors exactly what the Varmint rifle looks like. The original Varmint rifle for Fallout New Vegas was intended to be in .22 caliber, but was later changed to 5.56 because playtesters found that it just did no damage. And a lot of people have been asking us for a .22 bolt action rifle. And I've told them the same thing. We already have a 22 pack with 22 pistols and 22 rifles that spawn at level 1, and they already do no damage. Confining that to bolt action is going to make it almost atrocious to use, and nobody would ever want to use it. And so because of that, we did not make the Varmint rifle in .22 caliber. We definitely thought about it, and if you want to patch that yourself, go for it. But for the way that we like to balance these ammos to be, well, balanced, so that the 22 doesn't do too much damage for how cheap and plentiful it is, we made this thing in 223 or 556. Both versions are available over on the mod page, so if you want to use the classic 556 like New Vegas, or the 223, which is also available in New Vegas, you can use either one. But it won't be a caliber change option, it's just one or the other depending on which file you pick. Whether you like munitions or you want to be vanilla friendly, either way you go is going to be great. Now, I know some of you out there would say, well, why would I ever use the 223 version of this gun? One, I think it makes a bit more sense for the Varmint rifle to be 223, a more civilian-style caliber with lower power for the early game. But also, we now have patches for our other weapons to make the ones that make sense available in 223 as well, so this won't be the only one. If you want to use 223 in your game, you'll have access to the Varmint rifle as well as the AR-180, which to me is a great pick for 223 as a police rifle. I think that is really, really cool. Plus the AR-18 or AR-180, one of those was available in 223 as well, so it makes perfect sense to me. That was kind of the long-laid plan since we made the AR-180 in the first place. Now then, back to the Varmint rifle. This thing comes with, of course, custom models and textures, and in this case, brand new textures. The way that our workflow typically is I designed a handful of smart materials that we've been sort of building and making better over the years, and we use those smart materials. When I work on my wood and I make my wood a little bit better with each mod, I will use that wood again on the next mod. Well, this time around, we gave everything a huge revamp. I had some time between mods that I wasn't really working on anything, so I spent some time just making really, really good materials for us to use in the future, including a bunch of new types of wood, so you might see those appear on different mods in the future as well, including the wonderful redwood that's available here on the Varmint rifle, as well as upgrading some of our other textures like plastics and metals to look a little bit more realistic and not so jarring like they have looked on some of the past mods. So because of that, we have some really wonderful textures for the Varmint rifle here, and hopefully for the mods that we make moving forward. This mod is also going to come with built-in custom animations. It does not rely on hunting rifle animations, so you won't have to worry about left-handed or right-handed. This thing will always be right-handed. These animations were initially based on Hitman's, but when we released this, our wonderful MacDowell decided they weren't good enough and started to tweak them to make them even better, including custom third-person power armor animations, which is fantastic. This thing also comes with homemade custom sound effects, custom loading screens so you have nice little lore pieces dropped into the game. Of course, there are leveled-less injections, so you will be able to find this weapon all over the world on tons of different enemies and different locations, and there is also a unique, and the unique in this case is really, really cool. More on that here in just a bit. Now, of course, I did mention that level-less integration. If you want to get your hands on the base version of this weapon, this thing will spawn all over the place and really early on raiders, gunners, minutemen, railroad agents, and of course you can purchase it from vendors, all after level 5. So it's a pretty early game weapon, ideally one of the first bolt actions you receive. There are a couple of standard spots that you'll find the hunting rifle early on, but ignoring those, this should be the bolt-action mid-range sniper that'll carry you through the early game until you get hands on something bigger. Now then, we've talked about a lot of stuff. Let's go ahead and hop in-game and check out some of the finer details of this mod, like its stats, the unique, show off those animations, and of course all of the wonderful attachments available in this mod. So, of course, the first thing we need to check out here is going to be the stats. But we also get to have a nice little look at the model. This isn't exactly what it'll look like in my game, but this is a pretty good rendition of what it'll look like in a vanilla game without the E and B lighting and all that stuff. So, these are our new textures. One of the new woods that we've created even. You can see the nice pit marks in the shellac. There's some scratches and dings. It looks clean but dirty, just like the old New Vegas Varmint rifle did. Now, when it comes to checking out these stats, a little forewarning, these aren't exactly the standard attachments because, as you can see, I have a medium magazine and a marksman stock on. That's not going to change too much stuff, but I wanted to have those attached because that is the classic style of the Varmint rifle with the nice hole in the stock and the magazine that is at this length. I think that is really cool, and I imagine that a lot of you will be running it in this config. So, the stats for that are as follows. When you're using 223, this thing has a base damage of 32, a fire rate of 3, a range of 323, an accuracy of 75, a weight of 11.5 pounds, and a value of 39 caps. Now, this isn't going to be one-to-one with a standard config because there actually is a standard stock that is not this one. So the weight might be a little lower, the accuracy might be a little lower, stuff like that, little trade-offs here and there. But by and large, that's pretty much what you can expect in terms of the damages and stuff like that. The main reason, too, for this being an upgradable stock is lately, instead of using the classic New Vegas style as being the standard configs, we actually like those to be upgraded into, same as we did for the 870. That way, you're not locked at the lower tier attachments to get the classic look. So we came up with our own standard stock for this weapon. That way, you can upgrade into the cool classic one and use that as the high-end attachment and still have that cool classic look. But we also added some other late game goodies, which we'll get into in the attachment section. First, though, let's talk about the unique available in this mod. That way I can showcase its animations as well. So the unique for this mod is known as Circuit Breaker. It has an electrified projectile that adds energy damage and will turn enemies into ash, and as you can see, it has a boosted energy damage here underneath the ballistic damage, which is normally around 37. So let's move this thing over to this side so you can actually see this thing has a unique barrel exclusive to this unique, which has a bunch of gubbins and little wires and stuff and a big hunk and muzzle device, which theoretically electrifies the bullet as it comes out. It's sci-fi, we don't have to explain it too much. These blue parts here do actually glow, so that is a pretty cool addition with this weapon. And if you shoot this out, it's going to have a custom projectile and muzzle flash that adds a really cool electrical bullet. It may look reminiscent of something that we did to the 870 Pulse slugs. So pretty cool stuff. I really like that projectile, and I found a cool way to integrate it into Unique, so I'm quite happy with that. If you want to get your hands on this thing, it's actually found near Fort Hagen in one of the ruined structures in the city. But it seems that some people are having a little bit of a problem finding that for some reason, so I might as well showcase it here in the video as well. So here we are at Fort Hagen. I wanted to showcase exactly how to get there as if you were to fast travel from this location. So here we're looking at the main building. You're going to want to cut left. It's not too far at all. If you just come down this street and then take a right, you'll see a ruined building over here that is truly ruined. So when we say they are found in a ruined building, this is exactly what you should be looking for. If you come on in, you'll notice some booby traps that are blocking this thing off, so watch out for bottle cap mines, as well as more bottle cap mines, and I swear there was one more mine up here. Anyways, bottle cap mines, and you'll find a dead railroad agent with the circuit breaker laying right on his body. So that is a nice little look at where you get this thing. The idea is that he's taking some pot shots at synths that were coming into Fort Hagen, and obviously he didn't quite make it. Alright, now then, of course, let's talk about the custom animations available in this mod. A modified version of Hitman's right-handed hunting rifle animations, which are definitely some of my favorite bolt action sets, to be honest. So let's go ahead and check these things out. Starting off with a mag dump, or maybe not a full mag dump, but let's go ahead and hip fire this thing. Five actually would be the standard mag size, so that is a pretty good representation of how long it would take to dump that. But we also do have different animations for different magazines. Additionally, as part of this custom reload, we do have reduced recoil. When this thing first came out, it would shoot right back into your face, and that was just too much for 223. Now here we're going to get a look at the suppressed sounds as well as the really short mag reload, which does have a different reload animation altogether. Pretty nice stuff, so huge props to Hitman for the original anims and of course Mac for creating some custom ones. One thing I did forget to show off with the regular old Varmint rifle is that it does have perfectly serviceable iron sights that I think work just fine, just like the original ones did in Fallout New Vegas. They do exactly what you need them to. Last thing to showcase in this little area is going to be Circuit Breaker though, as we do have a custom projectile, custom sound effects, and all that fun stuff, so let's go ahead and check that out as well. Pretty cool stuff. I have to say I like this unique a whole lot. That electrical effect just looks really, really cool, and it makes for a fun, sort of sci-fi, scientist-y character who wants to make their own really crazy inventions like an electrical rifle. I don't know. It's neat. We had fun with it, and yeah, we didn't include Rat Slayer. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense for a gun from the West Coast to be all the way over here on the East Coast. Besides, it's more fun to experiment with new uniques rather than rehashing the same old ones. Plus, there's not even any rats in Fallout 4. Now then, let's talk attachments over here at the weapons workbench. Starting off with receivers, we have standard through advanced. Nothing new or crazy there. That's something that shouldn't be messed with too much. For barrels though, we have the short barrel, which is extraordinarily short but fitting for a gun like this. We have the standard barrel based on the actual length of the one from New Vegas. And then a long barrel, which may look tremendously huge, but believe it or not, this is the same length as the standard barrel for the hunting rifle. So that's just how different those two weapons are. The hunting rifle just has a way longer forestock that makes it look not as crazy, but it does look pretty wild, free-floating like this on this weapon. There are also light versions of each of these that include some cool fluting, as well as a suppressed barrel, which has an integral suppressor but will lock you out of any muzzle devices. But it actually is pretty dang cool, and the sights work. It's almost like a Delisle carbine, a little bit. For stocks, we have the option for a short stock, as is typical for Fallout 4 fashion. This thing does have a sawn-off stock. There is a full stock available, which is going to be the standard stock for this thing. We came up with our own design based on the classic Varmint rifle, but removing the hull and the comb to make this more of your typical sort of look. We have a light stock, which is going to be a plastic version of that with some nice detailing here. And this thing looks pretty cool if you want a lighter option, similar to that of Rat Slayer. We have a gunslinger stock, which has 2 magazines mounted on the back for faster reloads. The marksman stock is, of course, the classic New Vegas stock. And then, this one might be a bit jarring for some, a sniper stock, which adds a pretty crazy looking green one, sort of inspired by the Stare Scout and some concept art that we had made for us over in our Discord. This thing is pretty wild for a varmint rifle, but honestly, it's kind of cool and I kind of like it. So it's here, it's available, but by all means, you do not have to use that. You can stick with that classic old wood look if you so please, but this is here and it is cool. For magazines, we have the option for the standard magazine, which is going to be much shorter than the New Vegas version. A quick eject version of that, which has some tape on the bottom there, making a nice little loop for your finger. Then we have medium versions of both of those, as well as large versions. And these will go up from 5 to 10 to 15, respectively. For sights, we have the standard old iron sights. We have our glow sight option for iron sights, of course. A dot sight in the form of an old school aim point, which, to be honest, for some reason, I really like how this thing looks on this gun. Don't know why. It just looks pretty dang cool. The hollow sight is going to be our classic Bushnell, of course, which also looks pretty neat with all of the curves on this weapon. And then a reflex sight based on the old school Trigicon with a nice little chevron in the middle there, little triangle delta thing. So that's pretty cool as well. We have a short scope available, as well as a medium scope, which looks pretty nice, and a long scope as well based on the old school hunting rifle scope for the... No, wait, this is from the trail carbine in New Vegas, so kind of ties in pretty nice with this one as well. Then we have a night vision scope, which of course is going to be the New Vegas Varmint rifle scope. This thing looks super cool. It's the same one that's on Rat Slayer, so you can get something that's actually pretty dang close. Then we have a recon scope and a thermal scope. So pretty much anything you could need for using a scope on this thing you have available in this mod. Can't think of too much we haven't covered there. For muzzles, we have the option for no muzzle, of course. A makeshift compensator for the early game that's going to cost no perks to craft, as well as a makeshift muzzle brake and makeshift suppressor out of a Nuka-Cola can. All of these come with their own caveats. They're not nearly as good as the standard versions, and this suppressor is going to block your iron sights like crazy, but they're practically free to make. They obviously still cost crafting requirements, but they have no perk requirements. Moving on to the actual pieces, we have a flash hider, a compensator, a muzzle brake, a suppressor, and that's it. These are the standard versions, which all do have gun nut 1, gun nut 2, gun nut 3 for the brake and suppressor. So that's something to keep in mind when you're crafting this. It is going to get better as you travel through the game at all of its levels, but it's still totally viable in the early game. Also, apparently I'm a liar. These ones do have gun nut crafting requirements there that I was not aware of. I need to talk to Pig about that one. Now, moving down, we have the final slot, which is accessories, where you have the option for a flashlight, which is a bit odd, if I'm being honest. Pig thought it would be funny to mount it into this, mainly because it looks cool if you have this stock equipped. That was his entire reasoning. So there's that. But we also have some other options here in the form of a recon laser, as well as a VATS targeting module, which are mounted pretty rearward, but they don't clip with your hand or anything, so I guess that's the important part there. Pretty weird to mount these kinds of accessories to a bolt-action rifle like this. I suggest it up here on the barrel, but this is where we ended up. So you take what you can get, I suppose. So yeah, that is the Varmint rifle. Pretty happy with majority of this one. It has a lot of cool stuff to offer, really cool configs that scale from the classic style of the New Vegas Varmint rifle to something a bit different that you can just kind of do whatever you want with. Lots of cool different decisions there that you can make with the different attachments. You can have a very Raider style one with a sawed-off stock and a Nuka-Cola can suppressor, or you can have something a bit more tactical, maybe for your gunner character with that nice green polymer stock. Depends on what you want. You could do a whole lot with this thing. Either way, if you want to check out this mod, it will be linked down in the description as always. And while you're down there, if you'd like to support my work, you could consider dropping this video a like, or maybe even endorse the mod if you enjoy the mod so much. On top of that, there is an additional way to support me, which is over on Patreon, which will also be linked down in the description. The other two ways are a great free way to support me, but if you want to go the extra mile, you can contribute to me directly over at Patreon. But don't feel like you need to do that. That is just there for those of you who can and want to. By no means should anybody be doing that if it is out of their means. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed the mod. As always, I will see you in the next one. Peace!